Hello everyone, this is Tactical Lich here, and today we have a Lizardman replay sent in by tzeentchian, a player who also hosts tournaments featuring the glorious Shredder of Lustria. The purple highlight on the scales and also the glowy purple eyes look majestic on this fabulous beast. And accompanying him we have two smaller monsters, Slag with Mazamundi mounted on him and also an Arc of Sotak. As for the rest of the Lizardman build, we have a couple Cold One Riders at the back and only skink infantry, as the monsters and the cavalry are so expensive. In the middle, we have the Cohort of Sotak supporting all these monster squad. And in the skies, we have a skink chief, providing a bit of a skirmishing power. And also, speaking about skirmishing power, chameleon skinks, these sneaky, elusive, stealth missile infantry. They're hard to catch, has loose formation, missile resistance, great at countering skirmishing cavalry, like these Marauder Horsemen. Now, with the opponent here, we have the Chaos Warriors in the front line, mixed in with Chaos Marauders, Mirror Guard, Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and basically 4 Horsemen to provide the Javelin firepower to hopefully focus down any large monsters. And in the skies, we have a couple Feral Manticores for gooning purposes, and also 2 Exalted Heroes on horseback. As for leadership, we have the Big Bird, Sathral the Everwatcher, yet again coming in with Final Transmutation and Plague of Rust. And that's basically it for the army builds. Let's get the battle started and see the glorious Shredder in action. Noticing the 4 horsemen hanging around the battlefield, the Lizardman player decided to push up the Skink Chief and also the Chameleon Skinks, using the blow darts to soften up these Marauder Horsemen, as the Javelins, their massive missile strength, at around 28 damage per model over a 10-second period. They are the biggest threat to the Shredder of Lustria, who has a massive hitbox. A perfect target for focus fire. It has a bit of heavy armor, but still the damage adds up. Blow darts from the Skink Chief in the skies and also the Chameleon Skinks over here, steady, ready to counter fire, will be sending their poisonous blow darts into the horsemen, chipping away a few models here and there. In response, the Marauders are pushing forward, hoping to use their javelins to push back the Skink Chief, who wisely pulled back to evade the javelins. But then now, a net dropped right onto this massive blob of Chaos troops, pinning them all in place, perfect for a spell cast. Mazdamundi's Ruination of Cities, destroying one unit of the Marauder Horsemen, doing some nice damage to the Chaos Warriors with great weapons as well. Not exactly the greatest RNG, as 2 branches of the damage zones missed. Still, the damage is enough to rout off one of the Horsemen early. But now a follow-up with the Banishment dropped onto the other unit of Marauder Horsemen, doing some nice damage overall. In the front line, finally, infantry are clashing into infantry. The Skinks are desperately trying to hold back the Chaos Infantry tide. Being the chaff of the Lizardman, these skink cohorts will certainly have a hard time fighting a bunch of Marauders and the elite Chaos Warriors with great weapons. With the skinks occupied, more great weapons warriors are charging into the blob fight, trying to surround and overwhelm the Lizardman monsters, while the single entities of the Chaos are pushing forward, with Sathral, the Manticore and the double Exalted Heroes trying to hunt down Mazamundi, who has taken quite some damage, especially with the Final Transmutation overcast surrounding this whole blob. Thankfully for the Lizardman, the Shredder has a lot of HP to go through, so it is not exactly the most devastating spell, plus the shield and apotheosis have mitigated much of that damage. And with all the Chaos Infantry blobbed up, the Arc of Sotak is draining their health happily. At the back, we have the Chaos Warriors and Marauders finally finished off these skink cohorts, but not without paying a huge cost, as the Cold One Riders was able to get a decent rear charge, cutting down many worshippers of the Dark Gods, putting them down to half health. Although they did do some great counter damage, especially with some support from the Marauder Horsemen. Now back to the front line, where the whole engagement has devolved into a messy blob fight. The Lizardman dinos are stomping and biting, rampaging across the Chaos ranks, while the Chaos Warriors and Marauders are charging in, trying to surround the Shredder, but he is simply pushing through with his simply superior mass, bullying all these Chaos Infantry, hunting down, eating all these Exalted Heroes alive. One of them is actually routed, also the other is now in a terrified state, trying to run away from combat, but now pinned down by the Lord Mazamundi, the Shredder, the Cohort of Sotak, and also Cold One Riders. But unfortunately for the Lizardmen, most of their infantry are running out of steam as they have taken massive damage, while the Warriors of Chaos have a superior infantry presence, surrounding the dinos with their infantry with bodies and numbers, using their more mobile single entities to cycle charge whenever they can. Also using the Marauder Horsemen, chugging in the javelins, focusing down Lord Mazamundi to prevent any more healing into the blob. Especially, you don't want him to heal up Shredder of Lustria. He has a lot of HP left to heal, and it will be a massive threat to the Chaos, who do not have any anti-large components. The single entities are now very battered. The second Exalted Hero is routed. Most of the Chaos Ferromanticles are also heavily damaged, so they will be dispatched right now to hunt down Lord Mazamundi, preventing the Giant Toad from returning to provide more heals to the Shredder, who still have 7k HP. Certainly a tough nut to crack. Looking at the battlefield, both sides still have a pretty decent chance in winning. Lizardman has the big monsters, while Chaos have the infantry advantage. Chaos also has their leadership intact, Sathrel pretty healthy. He is a very mobile monster, bouncing around different Lizardman units, hopping onto the Chameleon Skinks, using that fear and terror to rout off these Chameleon Skinks, allowing stuff like, say, Marauder Horsemen to chase them down. Chaos Marauders will also be following up, finishing off these pesky skink skirmishers once and for all. But in the front line, the Chaos Infantry is also running out of steam. The Chaos Warriors, who do not have immune to psychology, are terrified by the overwhelming presence of a single Shredder of Lustria, shredded them to pieces. The pun absolutely intended. But Stilodon, being surrounded, will be charged down by Sathrel the Ever-Chosen, also routing, being pushed off by a surround of Chaos Warriors, the giant axes hacking through its thick hide. Shredder of Lustria coming in for a rescue here, terrifying all of these Chaos troops. Sathrel, seeing the Shredder charging in, decided it is not a force to be trifled with. Basically retreating, allowing the Javelin's horsemen to start focusing down the massive Dresaurian. Although the monster is now hot in pursuit on Sathrel, forcing the Everwatcher to go on a chicken run. The Everwatcher, running for his life, is desperately swinging his chicken legs to run away from the Shredder. And on the periphery of the battlefield, we have some Chaos Chariots chasing down the Chameleon Skinks, some returning Chaos Warriors who are very tattered, probably not going to be much of use, but still useful for distracting the Shredder of Lustria, allowing the horsemen to focus down the Shredder while it is occupied with the Chaos Infantry. But the machine guns on top of the giant monsters is now chipping away the health of not only the Chaos Marauder horsemen but also Sathrel. Down to 800 HP, he must have got caught by the Shredder, taking a couple massive hits alongside some machine gun shots from the Shredder. Over here, the Arc of Sotak are finished by the Chaos Infantry. And now the Chaos Warriors are pushing in, trying their last-ditch attempt to pin down the Shredder. But unfortunately, some of the Marauders are being routed, and the Horseman ammo is running thin. Shredder of Lustria charging in again, eating that Exalted Hero alive, and Chaos have no more melee options to hunt down the Shredder. It is so close to dying with only 1k HP left. It is so close yet so far, as Chaos failed to finish off the big monster. The Skink Chief here, dropping in that cold-blooded, really clutch here in sustaining the leadership of the Shredder, down to 12 leadership. If not for the cold-blooded, he would have been routed at this point, but he is still fighting, charging towards Sathrel the Ever-Watcher, terrifying the Chaos Warriors, preventing them from pinning him down, and one last bite, Sathrel has fallen. The Ever-Chicken is no more, and with that, the Shredder of Lustria has dominated the battlefield. Let's see how much damage value it got. 169 kills, very nice, almost 5k damage, basically killing off over 1/3 of the army of the Chaos alone, and the Shredder really has earned back its value. Unfortunately, he will be wavering at this point as he is exhausted, HP is extremely low, but still managed to terrify these Marauder Horsemen away, pushing them off the battlefield, chasing them all the way towards the white line. At the back, the Chaos Chariots finally returning, being a little too late to the party, being the one last unit of the Chaos army who can still fight. They will be pushing forward, trying to eliminate the Skink cohort, eliminate the ground support for the Lizardmen. So let us fast forward here as the Shredder routed off the Marauder Horseman, but he himself also breaks from the battle. Now, leaving the battlefield, only the Skink Chief in the sky is pretty healthy, and also the Chaos Chariots remain. Now, the Skink Chief is just sitting back in the sky, slowly chipping away the health of the Chariots. Though this might be a bit controversial in terms of the attacking rule, because some rule sets states that routing troops does not count as attacking, and the Skink Chief as a single entity, its shooting doesn't count as attacking either. Still, I did not host this game, and I assume in the tournament this game was played in, this was acceptable in the late game. And after a few shots, the Skink Chief drops in, rounds the chariot, and the Shredder Horde carried the Lizardmen to victory. GG to both players in this game. Good game to Dr. Jellyfish and Noah Phase for playing this fun battle, and also big thanks to tzeentchian for sending in this replay. It was an absolutely fun time to see the Shredder of Lustria wrecking all these Chaos Infantry, Chaos units, and the Chaos definitely put up a good fight with the Chaos Warriors pushing in and the counterfire from the Marauder Horsemen. But it seems that the regiment of renowned Dreadsaurian is just too much for the Chaos Mortals and also Safrel. The last bit where the Skink Chief was shooting at the Chaos Chariots was a bit controversial, but honestly, I feel that the Skink Chief will still win the engagement because it was able to get a free charge on the Chaos Chariots using the charge bonus and the rather healthy status of the hero to break these chariots. They most certainly have a bit more of a melee advantage there. Now for the army performances, Mazdamundi did some pretty damaging spells. The Ruination of Cities, one of them wrecked the Horsemen, and the other destroyed multiple units of Chaos Infantry, including some of the Chaos Warriors, and the Banishment did some nice damage as well. And Slag, being a powerful melee combatant, was basically wrecking a bunch of Chaos Infantry and helping out to dish out damage against the Exalted Heroes, but more importantly, the healing, the Apotheosis, topping up the health of some of these Lizardmen units, especially the Shredder of Lustria, was key to keeping these monsters in the fight, helping them to sustain a little longer in battle. As for the infantry, Skink cohorts got shredded by the Chaos Marauders. Cohort of Sotek was able to basically support the monsters, dish out some damage against the Chaos Warriors, but the overloading monsters and infantry is still simply too much for them. Code 1 Riders not doing so well here, as the armor-piercing infantry and also the javelins are great at killing off all these Code 1 cavalry. Chameleon Skinks, not a lot of good targets other than the Marauder Horsemen, and only one unit of these guys was not able to do out too much damage to the Horsemen. And now for the monsters, the Bastillodon with Arc of Sotek, the Drain effect, the magic effect was really good in killing the blobs of Chaos Infantry, and Shredder of Lustria. Almost 5k damage, doing some major damage to Safrel, the Exalted Heroes, the Chaos Infantry, and the monsters. Hard carried the whole game for the Lizardmen. The Skink Chief did some nice damage with the chipping shots, the blow darts and whatnot, and in the end, as the last unit standing, was able to rout off the chariots, securing the victory for the Lizardmen. As for the Chaos Army, the Chaos Infantry Marauders not doing too much here. The Warriors with great weapons, some of them did pretty well as their armor-piercing damage was great in killing the monsters, but they simply are not enough to focus down the Shredder. They need something like big monsters like the Dragon Ogres, or just a lot of firepower from the Javelins like Horsemasters, Horsemen, and also Horsemen with throwing axes to focus down the big monster. The Chaos Feral Manticores did a decent job in hunting down Lord Mazdamundi. They were the gooning squad for the Chaos, but unfortunately, the heavy armor on most of the monsters mitigated the damage from the Exalted Hero and also the Chaos Feral Manticores. Safrel the Everwatcher did some nice damage, not quite earning back its value, but the final transmutation was great in draining away the health in some of these single entities, and the Plague of Rust was crucial in buffing up the damage from these Marauder Horsemen. Some of them doing massive damage, almost 3 times its value. Pretty solid performance from the Skirmish Cav overall. Chariots, usually a great pick against the Lizardmen, as they are able to run down Saurus and Skink infantry, but up against a monster heavy build today, they weren't able to do too much damage. All they did was basically running down chaff, and in the end was not able to pull back the game for Chaos. And that's basically it for today's video. Big thanks to tzeentchian for sending in this replay from his tournament. And viewers, if you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like and subscribe to see more videos from my channel. They will be ranging from battle replays like this one, wild army builds, meme videos, or tips and strategies for Total Warhammer multiplayer. And if you have any replays that you want to showcase, feel free to drop by my Discord or send me an email with the replay file attached. I'll be sure to check them out. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.